Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 67 of Let's Go Racing with David Starr. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, our buddy Jonathan Fjeld is going to join us and hang out for much of the show today as we will dive into all the latest happenings in the NASCAR world. A look back at this weekend's race at Kansas and a look ahead to this weekend's race at Texas. Also, we'll have our news and notes and our Ask David segment coming up at the end of the show as well. Let's Go Racing with David Starr, presented by TicketSmarter. TicketSmarter came aboard as the primary sponsor this year of David's 08 Ford Mustang, and we want to tell you a little bit about what they do. TicketSmarter is a national ticket resale marketplace with tickets to over 125,000 live events, including NASCAR and other forms of motorsports. Fans can get tickets to every NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck race throughout the season. Visit TicketSmarter.com for more. That's TicketSmarter.com. David Starr joins us right now. David, how are we feeling? You had an off weekend here at home, but you certainly weren't not occupied by any means, as you guys had a busy weekend out at the racing school.
Man, we did. We had the C10 Nationals and at the Texas Motor Speedway Friday and Saturday, and we gave a lot of race car rides and had a lot of people riding the limousine. And man, it was incredible weekend, but it was hot, Tyler. Man, it was hot, and man, it was 97 degrees on Friday, and I think it was 99 degrees Saturday. But man, what a lot of fun, and made a lot of people happy, gave a lot of race car rides. It was just a great weekend, and got to hang out with my boys, and my two little boys came out to the racetrack. And last night our Dallas Mavericks advanced, and that was kind of cool. And man, I think somebody has a birthday coming up. All kinds of cool stuff going on for us guys here.
Yeah, we will bring in the birthday boy himself, as it is Age Advancement Day for Dominic Oregon, as he joins us right now. Dom, happy birthday to you, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you on with us. Are you feeling any older? How's it feel?
Appreciate that. No, I take some great advice I heard back in October from somebody on the show. You got to live every day like it's your birthday. And that's how I try to live every day. No, just another day, but certainly blessed to have another day on this rock. And hey, woke up, I'm alive. It's a great day. So no, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll bring Jonathan in just a moment. But before we do, David, looking back just about the racing school, before we dive into the business of the day and such, tell us about how that went. You guys were part of a Chevy event that was going on as well at the racetrack, I believe. Tell the folks about that and just the turnout that was there.
Man, it was a great turnout. I didn't have, C10 Nationals. I guess as these C10 Chevrolet pickups are pretty awesome, man. I've seen all kinds this week. It was amazing. And then all the vendors that were there and the apparel companies and the food was just incredible. And the turnout, the fans to come out and see these trucks from all over the United States was just amazing. And we were able to give race car rides and all the fans that came there. Once we cranked up the cars and gave our first couple of race car rides, man, it's like the gates opened and here they all came. It was incredible. And we gave 4-lap race car rides. And then we cut a NASCAR race car in half years ago, I'd say 20 years ago, and extended it and put 12 seats in it. And it's really popular with the kids and the families. And man, it was incredible. But what a fun time, and to be able to share what we all love, our sport, and put somebody in the passenger side of a NASCAR race car and give them a ride at 163 miles an hour. It's pretty cool, pretty awesome experience. And man, we had women, men, fathers, sons and daughters, just, everybody get out. And it was just, it's amazing to hear their comments. Some are hollering and screaming. Some are really cussing real loud enjoyment. It was just really cool. And it was just a fun weekend to do that. My off weekend, I can't think of a better place than to be back at the racetrack on my off weekend. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. Great stuff there. And if you want to feel the experience of a real NASCAR race car, check out teamtexas.com for more information. That's teamtexas.com. Dominic, go ahead and introduce us to Jonathan. He's somebody that the three of us know so well, but maybe the audience doesn't know. Tell us about Jonathan and how far you guys go back here.
I had the pleasure of knowing John the longest of the three of us. Our relationship goes back to 2009. We've known each other for a long time. Started out with making YouTube videos and sim racing. And if you listen to the show every week, more often than not, you hear his name get plugged at the end of the show when Tyler goes around the room and asks us what we're doing over the weekend. And a lot of times, Jonathan and I are keeping a lot of the content going and growing at theracingexperts.com. And Jonathan is a motorsports journalist. He also works for the NBC affiliate in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Jonathan's a 2021 graduate of the University of Mankato with his degree in journalism. And John, we know you've been a big fan of the show since day one. We're so happy, awesome, and honored that you're joining us this week on Let's Go Racing.
Thank you, Dom. Appreciate it. Yeah, we go way back. I appreciate the shout outs and everything. It's fun to be here. Fun to be here with you guys.
Yeah, Jonathan. And Jonathan's going to be chiming in on our discussion today as we dance around from different things. And where we want to start is looking back at this weekend at Kansas. Dominic, I'll start with you. Kurt Busch gets the win, brings that 45 car to victory lane. And when you looked at the performance of 23XI Racing this year, they have really disappointed, especially I think everybody had put Trackhouse as like their measuring stick, their counterpart, as they both entered the sport at the same time. And Trackhouse has been phenomenal this year. 23XI, not so much, but a really good weekend for 23XI for Kurt Busch to get the first ever full race win for that team.
I agree with that, Tyler. At the beginning of the year, they had some strong runs. Bubba Wallace in the Daytona 500 led a bunch of laps, was a factor to win, finished second, I believe. Kurt Busch, I think, gave a lot of high hopes, too. I think we can all agree that team looked really good out of the gate. Top fives at Atlanta and Phoenix to begin the year, and Kurt Busch was looking like, hey, he's just going to point his way into the playoffs like he does every year. Be strong on that. Some disappointing runs, and Denny Hamlin talking about the mistakes, the pit crews that they've had over the weeks, and finally to see that team put the full race together. And by the way, Bubba Wallace, too, I think 10th place really doesn't do justice to how well and how strong that team was. Overcoming 2 penalties on pit road to come back and finish top 10 in Bubba's best finish since that second place finish in the 500. Overall, a great day for 23XI Racing. But you're right, Tyler. I think Trackhouse Racing is a good measuring stick because these are 2 teams that entered at the same time, kind of that same background, celebrity status, sport with drivers and connections that run deep in the sport. So 2-car team, I think there's a great comparison there with Trackhouse Racing, and they finally get it done, like you said, in a full 400-mile race.
Jonathan, let's go to you next. What was your kind of takeaways from Kurt Busch's win on Sunday?
I think it's remarkable just the longevity Kurt Busch has. 20 years ago, you could have said Kurt Busch won the race, and it would have been, not a surprise. 20 years later, Kurt Busch wins. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, but also not at the same time because, Toyota, they've put a lot into Kurt Busch and 23XI to make this program succeed. Finally starting to see some of the rewards for what they put into it. So it's awesome to see. Kurt Busch, especially, he's now won in 19 of his 22 full-time seasons, one away from being like one of 5 drivers in series history to have 20 winning seasons. I mean, when you think of that, like Kurt Busch is one of the underrated greats of the sport. Maybe not with one team for a certain period of time, but certainly winning races, mainstay in the sport. It's awesome to see him, continue to have success. Also, Kyle Larson, too. I don't know how he finished third after he bounced the car off the wall 3 times, had it fishtailed out, but it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. And David, for Kurt Busch, now he's won with 4 different manufacturers. Dominic, I lost count how many teams it's been now that he's won with. Even with just one championship, what he's been able to do from team to team, car to car, different eras and such. I mean, he's got to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, right, David?
Well, I mean, everything you guys, he's a wheel man. I mean, he's one of the best, and 20 years, I think he would have probably retired if he couldn't get the job done. Kurt Busch knows that when he's steps inside, he walks inside a racetrack, gets inside of his race car, that he has a shot at winning. And, he's been with so many different teams. But what he brings to the tables is his expertise. He understands the race car. He knows how it works. He knows what he wants in a race car. He really he helps a lot of these different organizations. And I think it was awesome for 2311. I think it was a brilliant idea for Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan to bring a Kurt Busch into an organization that's just as new, brand new like they were. And, I think Dominic and John maybe spoke about it. Hadn't had the success that you thought they were going to have right outside the box in the opener at Daytona. But I knew it wouldn't be that far away until we saw Kurt Busch, come to the front, obviously, and you're right, Tyler, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. And I love it that 22 years later, and I think Jonathan mentioned it, he's won in 19 seasons of his 20-year Cup career. Amazing. It's just amazing. And it's a testament to his ability and his talent level. And, the guy, you look at Kurt Busch, he's still in good shape. And I think that burning desire to win and to compete is obviously still there. And, man, I think it's awesome. I hope to see Kurt Busch win, 10 more years from now, who knows, but it's, to hear Jonathan speak about that longevity as a Cup racer. But what's interesting about it is how long he's been a winning driver. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, you look at some of the superstars, Hall of Famers of the sports, and man, they were good for 12 years, 13 years, and they kind of faded away or fell off.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte is a great example of that.
Yeah, but man, you look at Kurt Busch, man, 19 years has won a race, and out of his 20-year Cup career, it's just amazing, And then here he is, 20 years into a Cup season. I don't think we've seen the end of Kurt Busch anytime soon, And I think they're just probably. Y'all were just talking about Bubba Wallace. I did not watch the race. I'm hopefully going to watch it tonight. But to have Bubba Wallace finish 10th in the top 10, I mean, that's seems like 2311 is starting to hit their stride. And with the support of Toyota, and they're great engineers and their crew chiefs and, the Michael Jordan brands and all the brands that are behind that organization, how it is, guys. We talk about it every week in and week out. Once you win that first race, and seems like more will follow. You know what I mean? So I think we can. It'd be interesting to see how the next 2, 3, 4 races turn out for him. Because I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see Kurt Busch, be one we'll be talking about that's a championship contender again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Dominic, for me, the thing that's so fascinating too. If we said, let's go back, let's say even a year or two ago, Kurt Busch wins at Kansas, we're like, okay, cool, I guess. There's not much of story to it. But with the circumstances that we were talking about this past weekend, now he's in the 2311 Toyota car, the 45, had the Air Jordan colors on it and such, and that 45 number, of course, with the blessing of the Petty family and being on the anniversary of when Adam Petty passed away too, and the number 45, what it means to them. I mean, all of that was so unique. This was not just a regular win at Kansas by any means.
I think you're right there. And Justin Long, the NBC Sports, wrote a really good feature on that. And I think that's something that's certainly going to, Jonathan, I think you could agree with me, that will be up for an award with the National Motorsports Press Association, how well that was written and how well that story was told. But my gosh, 34 wins, Kurt Busch, in this story detailed career, he has been consistently, he always makes teams better. I think that's what the legacy of Kurt Busch is going to be when we look back 10, 15, 20 years from now. We look at Kurt's contributions to NASCAR. Every team that he was a part of, he made him just a little bit better. He elevated that team's stature and made them a little bit better. He found it. He left it a little bit better than he found it, as they would say. And Tyler, I think you have a really cool story, I think, that you should share with our audience, because you did get the chance to talk with Kurt, and there was that uncertainty when he made that video driving the one car on Key West Bridge. Is he going to retire? Is he going to run the next gen car? He actually talked with you a little bit about that.
Yeah, I remember it was, this was the Kansas race weekend 2021. Yeah, it was 2020. It was right before the pandemic when we knew the next gen car was on its way. When we thought it was going to come in 2021 at that time. And I remember asking Kurt, I said, because he had that cryptic video, with Monster, and everybody's like, what does this mean? Such, is he retiring? And I asked him, what's your future in the sport look like? And there was uncertainty at Ganassi at the time because we all knew Ross Chastain was working his way up and such. And Ross has proven that obviously he belongs in top equipment. But I remember him saying to me, he said, look, I want to keep doing it this, and I want to race this new car. He made a point that he wanted to drive the next gen car. And if you go back and look at the test sessions, who was the guy leading the way for a Toyota in those test sessions? Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch was the guy that wanted this, I think, just as much as anybody, to see how this car would run. There were some guys that, I won't mention any names, Don, that kind of ran away from this new car that didn't want anything to do with it. And guys like Kurt Busch embraced the challenge, embraced the opportunity. And Jonathan, I would say that it's paid off for Kurt Busch. You could see on Sunday just the excitement, the energy, the emotion he had about winning for Michael Jordan, winning in that new car, winning for Toyota.
Oh, yeah. I think every Kurt Busch win we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years has been excitement and like a first career win, because it's really felt like Kurt Busch has been on borrowed time, because back in 2019 we thought Kentucky, this might be his final win. Las Vegas might be his final win. Atlanta, again, Kansas. But, it's exciting to see, because so often we see veterans get deep into their career. They're excited to win. Of course, you kind of get into that point where you're winning, going. I like to see it. And also, I love seeing Denny Hamlin's reaction as well. Jamie Little was doing, of course, the interview on pit lane with him, and Kurt came by, and we got the in-car camera and saw Denny and Kurt interact, and Denny had tears in his eyes. I mean, how often do we see that of Denny Hamlin tearing up and being excited? And you saw Kyle Busch there, of course. That's been fun to watch, has been Kurt and Kyle. Back in 2007, you remember the All-Star race where they said they wouldn't be invited to each other's Thanksgivings and whatnot after they wrecked. And now after every time Kurt Busch wins, you see Kyle Busch cracking a smile, excited, having fun. It's all around. It's just fun when Kurt Busch wins. And just to see, I think, too, how a veteran is still doing as well as he is. Because we've seen some, like you mentioned, so many veterans who have retired. Jimmy Johnson, we've seen Matt Kenseth, we've seen other drivers who've gone away. And Kurt Busch is still out there winning and doing well. So it just brings excitement to the sport.
Yeah, it does. It's one of the most interesting stories I think you could think about when you talk about the history of NASCAR, is what all Kurt's gone through, from Roush to Penske and how that ended at Penske, to going to Phoenix Racing and Furniture Row and Haas and Ganassi, now in 2311, and all the bumps along the way and such. It's been quite the story of Kurt Busch on that front there. Moving on, looking ahead to this weekend at Texas. David, Texas is such a special place for you. You've been there since the very beginning of that place. Tell the folks about Texas Motor Speedway and what it means to you.
Well, I mean, just, I love all the racetracks. They're all special. And Texas is just a great place. When I was just getting my NASCAR career started, the racetrack was there, and kind of grew up together, I guess you could say, and obviously having our NASCAR racing school there since the place before it even opened up. It's just a special place for me and my family. We just love it. And all the people, there's been so many people and sponsors giving me opportunities to drive their race cars over the year locally and throughout Texas. You have a chance for them to come to the races, see them, give them tickets, get them garage passes. It's just cool. But it's cool to race at, anybody's home track. You know what I mean? It's always fun. You hear about Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch in Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Brendan Gaughan, my buddy that we used to race pretty hard together for years, you know, he would always win the truck race at Texas Motor Speedway. And then I've won one at Las Vegas. He said, dude, we got this stuff. We got to get this right. You know, you need to win at Texas. And I need to win at Las Vegas, you know, but I don't know. It's just a great racetrack. A lot of great people. Kenton Nelson, been there for assistant general manager, been there since day one. And I don't know. I just love all the people, love the racetrack. Love the fans. It's just it's a cool racetrack. And you know, I love them all, you know, don't get me wrong, Daytona, Talladega, Martinsville, Bristol. I mean, I just love to race, but it's very special to me because it's my home track, and that's what makes it kind of cool.
Yeah, it is such a neat place. And Dominic, Texas Motor Speedway, you know, this all-star race that they're getting to host, you know, last year did such a good job with the all-star race. You know, I mean, I wondered how it would fare of getting away from the traditional 500-mile race. But last year we saw them put on quite the show with the all-star race. And we've seen over the years where Texas maybe too many green flag laps kind of drags on and such. I think the all-star format's a good fit for Texas.
It sure is. And the different stages and segments of the race and how it's broken up. I was telling anybody, hey, if you're going to watch a race, watch this weekend. It's going to be cool. The open, guys trying to get in, and the fan vote. And then you get the all-star race. It's a shortened version of what you would typically see on a Saturday night or a Sunday race. So, no, a lot of excitement around the Texas Motor Speedway. And I was very excited because we were all there last year. And then for them to announce that the all-star race would return in 2022 to Texas, very exciting. Glad SMI made the call there. I think it's a great race, and it's not going to disappoint this weekend.
Y'all just like to hang out at Martin Tate's condo because it's pretty awesome.
That's pretty fun. That's a nice little experience there too. Overseeing turn two.
That's pretty awesome. Martin Tate's a great friend, great man. He's got an awesome condo, him and his wife, and it's always a lot of fun. But you know, I've been so busy. I guess I asked the question. You know, there's some kind of. What about the qualifying format? What's going on there? Have you heard anything?
Now break that down for us, Jonathan. How's the whole format going for the All-Star race this year?
Yeah, so this qualifying is going to be a lot of fun. So everybody does one lap, and then it's going to be in reverse order of the owner points. And then the top 8 advance to a head-to-head elimination style bracket. Now, what does that mean? The top 8 qualifiers from round 1 will face off. It'll be 2 cars each, staged side by side in pit stalls near the end of pit road. They'll perform a 4-tire stop, and then they'll exit the pit stall onto the track. And the first car to the finish line advances to the next round. And then the final pairing goes for the pole. So it's kind of like, if you guys remember, of course, at the convention center, the old pit crew challenge where they go side by side down the lane and whoever gets done the fastest wins, mixed with some of what we've seen where they've had to pit one lap and then go back out and do it. So it's a little bit of both. It's going to be fun. Going to be very unique. I've never seen something like this before.
Well, and traditionally speaking, I don't know if they're still doing this or not, but that all-star qualifying, it can scare the crap out of you if you're on pit road because there's no speeding limit.
And now returns, no speed limit either.
No limits, right? No limits, Texas. They live up to the name.
Hey, I wouldn't want to be one of those crew members, though. That's for sure, man. You know, no speed limit. I mean, heck, that's old school NASCAR racing right there, you know.
Well, I got to ask you too, David, because you've run the Open before. You were in the Open last year at Texas Motor Speedway. So for you, is it weird or is it different to not be a part of that open field this time around?
Oh man, it was just driving for Carl Long, MBM Motorsports last year, and for Carl to give me the opportunity to run the open race, it was just kind of cool. You know what I mean? It was a cool deal. Our car was pretty competitive at times, and knew it was a long shot, but man, it was just awesome. It was awesome. It's awesome to have the all-star race at the Texas Motor Speedway. I mean, for all of us, I think any NASCAR fan or, anybody in the industry, that all-star race where it pays $1 million. That's amazing. For one race pays $1 million. That's unbelievable. And, for all the years it was at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, it was cool for the sport to kind of change it up, send it to different tracks. And I just think it's cool we have it here at the Texas Motor Speedway. But man, what a exceptional race. I wish they had an all-star race for the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Why don't they have that, guys?
Yeah, that'd be cool. This weekend, I believe it's a triple header weekend with Xfinity and Truck running points-paying races, with Cup running the All-Star race this weekend. But that open field, tell us about that. Jonathan or Dominic, either one of you have the entry list. Who are the open drivers up for grabs?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, you got some good names in there. I mean, you have Tyler Reddick, you have Austin Dillon, you have Chris Buescher, Daniel Suarez, guys who have been on the cusp of winning, but just haven't broken through yet. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We've often seen it with the open race that it's been one of the best races of the whole weekend. I remember Bubba Wallace made a 3-wide pass in the grass a couple of years ago. I think it was in the 2019 race. We saw Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson beat and bang for the win back in 2016. So a lot of fun. And it also gives these drivers a chance to really showcase what they'll do to win. Because, we often see guys like Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, who have won many races, but these guys, like Daniel Suarez, who's never won before, like a Tyler Reddick, who's never won before, you get that chance to really showcase that. So it's fun.
John, I think back to Mike Bliss. I think Mike Bliss in the Open in 2005, getting turned, come into was it the white flag or the checker?
Brian Becker.
Checker flag.
Got into the All-Star race.
Yeah. So tell me this, David, the Open, of the opportunity it provides for somebody to win that usually doesn't win typically, can that be a big confidence boost, especially as we get ready towards the second half of the regular season, once you taste that victory of some sorts to get some momentum for as we go into the 7 months here?
Man, I really think it does. Just hearing Dominic and Jonathan talk, the names that they were mentioning, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez. I mean, cars that have been really, really fast week in and week out, and we're surprised that they haven't won a race yet. But and I think no matter if it's the open race trying to make the all-star field, once you win, the momentum, what it does for your organization, your team, I just think the momentum behind that. You might not even go on and win the all-star race, but just to win the open race, I think you can carry that momentum with you the rest of the year or the next month, so, a win is a win. And, and I think the open race, like Jonathan was saying, is one of the most exciting races because of the way it finishes and people passing through the grass, spinning each other out. It's just amazing. I love the format, but I think, hey, anybody wants to win any kind of race. And, to see, Daniel Suarez or whoever win that open race, I think, that's going to be exciting for them. And I think it can carry some momentum in the future.
Jonathan, let's move on and talk about the All-Star race itself. Last year, this kind of got things started for Kyle Larson of the great season that he had. The All-Star race win really got the wheels turning for that 5-team last year. Do you think we could see that have that effect here for the All-Star race? Even though it's not points paying, it's $1 million on the line, which I don't even think that's big of a deal. The rich get richer. These guys are already worth a lot of money anyway. But do you think there could be a big push as somebody gets on a big momentum run if they win this weekend in the All-Star race here?
Certainly. You got someone like Ross Chastain, who already has had a lot of success and a lot of momentum coming into this race. He's someone I'd watch for. Denny Hamlin. Dom and I were talking on the phone the other day, and we were talking about how they described themselves as the most dangerous 22nd place team in the field, and just had great wording, right? They just had a good 4th place finish, some momentum to build off of. They could win here, win the All-Star race. I think that could really catapult them because they've been fast. They just haven't had the results, haven't had the luck. I think of 2311, again, Kurt Busch, Bubba Wallace, good speed. If they can reel off another win, albeit Not a points win, but a win in general, that'd be huge. Ryan Blaney as well, too. Hasn't won yet, but had a lot of speed. So a lot of different guys who could really use this race well.
You know, somebody who's been really running really strong here the last 3 or 4 races, Ricky Stenhouse. Man, it's amazing how good he's been. You know, was it Dover where he finished second? And man, it's amazing, you know, that their organization and how good they are now. And I mean, I think he's in the open race as well.
Yeah, he is. And when I look at this lineup of the open drivers, who Jonathan had mentioned earlier, here's what I'm thinking, Dom. For our listeners and viewers of the podcast out there, I am only authorizing that people can vote for people that have been on the podcast. So that means that you can vote for BJ McLeod or Landon Castle. Those are the 2 drivers that on this show. So those are the only drivers I'd be voting for, and those are the only drivers we're promoting. I think that sounds fair, right, David?
Hey, I think that's fair game from our side anyway. You know what I mean? That might not be from the other side, but that's fair game for us.
If I had to guess, though, who's going to win the fan vote on that fan vote list, I think Tyler Reddick is probably going to be the guy. I would be shocked based on the way that Tyler Reddick has run lately and his popularity building up. I think he's pretty much, barring the car wrecking in the open, Dominic, he's a lock to get in.
Well, I think you're right. And NASCAR released earlier this week, I believe on Monday, the 16th, on who the top 4 drivers are in no particular order, but ABC order. That is, Eric Jones would be at the top. You'd have Corey LaJoie, Tyler Reddick, and Daniel Suarez. So one of those 4 are likely going to be your all-star voters. But I could see all 4 of them making the case for winning stages in the open and advancing that way and not even having to rely on the fan vote.
And that's what they want. They don't want to have to rely on the fan vote if they don't have to. Real quick, when we look at the favorites for the race, obviously we mentioned Kyle Larson. He's the defending race winner. But who are some names you're watching for, Jonathan, to come away with the All-Star win here?
I think I mentioned before, Ross Chastain. He's been fast everywhere. I think he's going to be fast again. You know, you look at someone like Kyle Larson, of course, Texas won last year, but you mentioned him. Guys like, you know, maybe an Eric Almirola or someone, you know, this race has been home to some drivers who maybe haven't been as strong so far in the season, but kind of get that little breakthrough like Ryan Newman back in 2009. So I think he might have some success. Chase Briscoe, of course. You got AJ Allmendinger, of course, that colleague number 16 has had some pokes of speed. Kyle Busch, some guys to watch for.
Yeah. You know, Dominic, I was thinking about this with the All-Star race. You know me, I'm a general sports fan. I'm not even actually going to be there this weekend. I got to cover the PGA Championship back in Tulsa. But, you know, typically with all-star events, I don't know about you, David, I can't stand them usually. I hate the NFL Pro Bowl. It's terrible to watch. The NBA All-Star Game's a joke. The MLB All-Star Game isn't what it used to be. Most all these All-Star games are just terrible. The NASCAR All-Star race, I give these guys a lot of credit, Dominic, because they're actually putting in effort. These guys, they don't race any different in the All-Star race as they would any other week. Maybe even a little more aggressive, a little tougher. I mean, there's no week off for these guys like we typically see in other sports with an All-Star event.
Well, I go back to 1994 and you look at that all-star race, right? Ernie Irvin, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt battling for the win. Jeff Bodine ultimately came away with the win. It was his first win as a NASCAR owner and driver, and the first win after taking over for Alan Kulwicki's team after Kulwicki had died the year before. And I've talked to the guys that worked on that team, and they're like, that win just sparked so much momentum for the rest of our season. They went on to win 3 more races and were a factor in more races than not. But not just that example, but you're right. The All-Star race is taken so seriously. Look at Mark Martin winning the race in 2005. We can arguably say by winning that race, he stepped out of retirement. He was willing to come back for another year, and that turned into another 8 years. This All-Star race can definitely have some career-changing abilities. I think you look at the driver win the Daytona 500. Did they win the Coca-Cola 600? The Darlington Southern 500. The All-Star race is up there. I would say the All-Star race is in the top 5 of the most coveted races in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's up there for sure. We will get to our news and notes segment.
Y'all forgot one thing.
Tell us.
$1 million, dude.
Oh yeah, the money.
They're all rich already, though, Dave.
I get you, but still, it's $1 million.
Money can be a good motivator, though.
Absolutely. So
Why not $1 million more?
Absolutely. Hey, what's another million? But anyway, that's a motivator right there, I believe.
Our news and notes segment coming up in just a moment. But before we do, we are presented by TicketSmarter, the official ticket resale marketplace of Worldwide Technology Raceway, which their cup race is coming up here in just a couple of weeks. David won there back in 2004, and fans can get tickets to any type of event right there at Worldwide Technology Raceway or other sporting events, concerts, and theater productions. TicketSmarter is committed to helping those in need by donating $1 from every transaction to various charity organizations. Head over to TicketSmarter.com to find tickets for upcoming events. That's TicketSmarter.com. David, real quick on that, by the way, since we mentioned it, the St. Louis weekend that's coming up, our friends at TicketSmarter, they're the presenting sponsor for that race weekend. They're putting on a big concert festival out there. Going to be the first cup race ever at Gateway, the return of that track. It's going to be quite the show that it's going to be put on there to kick off the month of June.
Man, no doubt about it. The race fans around that part of the country are just amazing, with all the dirt track racing they have around there. It's just lots of great fans, and it's awesome to see the Cup Series going to St. Louis. I think that's pretty awesome. It's, traditionally it's always been trucks and Xfinity, and it's really cool to see. I'm excited to see how the Cup cars race that track. It's such a cool, challenging racetrack. I think it's going to be a really great race, and to have TicketSmarter, our sponsor, be the presenting sponsor of that event is pretty awesome. I'm so proud, and I'm looking forward to it. I know the racetrack and the people in that part of the country, they're all excited, and I hope it's just a home run for TicketSmarter. I hope it's a home run for the racetrack, and I just hope it's a big success and we can see the Cup Series come back to St. Louis after that.
Yeah, it'd be great to see. So looking forward to that. TicketSmarter.com for more information to get tickets to that race there in St. Louis, the Worldwide Technology Raceway. I believe I'm going to be there as well. So can't make it out to the All-Star race this weekend. Looking forward to being in St. Louis here in a couple of weeks. All right, news and notes time. Dominic, catch us up to speed. What do we have going on this week?
Well, we're talking about all these returns and all these different things that are going around the sport. What about the return of another manufacturer? So it was reported on May 13th that potentially from the Mopar Insiders, this is according to their news outlet, that Dodge could be making a return to NASCAR. Now, we know that Dodge left the sport in 2012 after winning the NASCAR championship with Brad Keselowski. They've had a 10-year absence from the sport, and they've come and gone before. But could we see the potential of Dodge coming back and adding that fourth manufacturer to the Cup Series? Time will be remaining to be seen. But you know what, Tyler, it brought up a great point. Like, we get a fourth manufacturer back, Tony Stewart, NHRA. I feel like there could be some writing on the wall. There could be some validity to this.
Yeah, well, and what's interesting, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dom, but Dodge didn't necessarily want out of the sport. They were kind of kicked to the curb with only being left with Penske. Like, they were kind of shown the door of some sorts, back then. And their performance was so up and down, and mostly down in their most recent run in Cup, that I'm sure that they would, come back with a little edge to them. David, let's start with you on this. I don't know. Have you ever driven for Dodge? What do you make of Dodge and the idea of them possibly coming back?
Man, years ago, I ran the Dodge Ram pickup in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and man, tell you what, they had some strong. I mean, the race truck on the racetrack, their engines was unbelievable. And you think about NASCAR and Chevrolet and Toyota and Ford. It's kind of interesting that Dodge is not. Because ever since I've been a part of it, Dodge has always been a major player in the industry side of our sport. And you look at these manufacturers, they pour so much funding into our industry. They want their race cars to win races on Sundays and sell them on Mondays. You know what I mean? And you look at all the great cars that Dodge has come out with over the last 10 years. It's amazing. You can't drive down the road and not see a Charger and all the different muscle cars that they have out here lately. And it's surprising that they have been out of the sport for 10 years, because I think NASCAR is just, I don't know, it's NASCAR and is a great fit for that manufacturer, all the manufacturers, to be honest with you. And I was just so surprised back then in 2012 when Dodge kind of pulled out of the sport. You know what I mean? It's just because I think the sport is good for Dodge, and I think Dodge is good for our sport. You know what I mean? But they got some cool cars out there, and the loyalty to Dodge. I see these race fans all over the country. They're still proud of Mopar, Dodge, Chrysler. I mean, they have some very loyal fans out there, and I don't know. From a business standpoint, you would think that Dodge would have never left NASCAR just because they have great cars and you win races or you're out there. It's just a great platform to promote their automobiles. And I've always thought that NASCAR, the success of Chrysler, Dodge, Mopar, I think a big part of it is because they've won so many races in our sport. You know what I mean? So I hope that what we're talking about here is, I hope they come back into sports sometime really soon. And I'd be really surprised if they don't.
Well, even when they left, Dominic, it didn't feel like that they were going to be gone forever. Even at the time, it felt like, well, this is just a season of sorts, and they'll be back. It never felt like they were in, that far away, that they just written off NASCAR of sorts. And for me, there's a couple teams that come to mind right away. Obviously, Petty GMS, with Richard Petty's long history with Dodge Chrysler. Penske, obviously they won the championship with, although things appear to be pretty good with Ford. You mentioned Tony Stewart there, but there's only a couple of teams that are really tied down to their manufacturers. Hendrick and RCR will never leave Chevy. Gibbs will never leave Toyota. And then beyond that, it's kind of really anyone's ball game, whatever manufacturer gives them the best offer, essentially.
Well, we saw Joe Gibbs Racing take that leap of faith and go with Toyota Racing Development in 2008, and that investment really, really paid off. What about somebody like a Trackhouse Racing or 2311 be that poster child for the new manufacturer if that were to come in? Jonathan, I mean, Tyler kind of mentioned this a little back, so maybe I'm backstepping a little bit, but like how there was only going to be one team to go with in 2013 had Dodge stayed with the sport. I'm curious if you had heard this too, that, I mean, they would have had Penske and maybe Robbie Gordon Motorsports, and Dodge didn't feel like that would have been a good fit moving into the Gen 6 car.
Well, also another interesting element was there was heavily regarded in the garage area was Michael Andretti was possibly going to come into the sport with Dodge and going to line up a deal with Kurt Busch, DHL. They had everything lined up, and then Dodge pulled the plug. So when you think about it now, who are some names who might be looking at the sport? Might Andretti be looking at NASCAR again? He's been, I heard something about how Michael Andretti was going around the F1 paddock at Miami trying to get signatures from the different team principals to petition the FIA.
To that, Jonathan, he's in the process of getting an F1 team right now, and he's talked about going into NASCAR for a long time. He hasn't given up on that from what we've heard either, that he's still very interested in the Dodge thing. Michael Andretti, if we had the Andretti's back in the sport, that'd be great, David.
Oh man, absolutely. Anything's possible. None of it would surprise me. I mean, there's always cool news coming out. You never know who's coming in, who's going out. But I think, Andretti, Dodge, I mean, that would be a great fit. I think, my personal opinion is I think they're so involved in the F1 and IndyCar racing right now. I don't really see that happening. But, anything's possible, and Tyler, you mentioned Petty. Richard Petty's, I think Petty and Chrysler, Mopar, I mean, the success they had for as long as they had, you would think that would be somebody that kind of makes sense. But anyway, it's always cool that anything's possible, and to have a new guy like the Andretti's or Michael Andretti come into our sport, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, let's get David Starr Motorsports with us.
Yes.
What else are we got going, Dominic?
Well, I think one of the other headlines from this weekend that deserves a little bit of a closer look is Denny Hamlin's 4th place finish. Yeah, he had a front row seat battle to Kurt Busch and the Kyle show, but Denny Hamlin's 4th place finish in the Advent Health 400 delivered his 200th career NASCAR Cup Series top 5. So Hamlin is the 16th driver in NASCAR Cup Series history to hit that mark, 200 career top 5 finishes. Only other active drivers that have that would be Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, 238 and 232 respectively. You have to go all the way back to the 1950s for the first time somebody hit that mark. And Lee Petty, 3-time champion of the sport, was the first driver to hit 200 top 5s. He's only the 16th driver, Denny Hamlin is, in NASCAR history to hit 200 top 5s. I think that's a remarkable feat to hit.
That's incredible. That's some good territory there, Jonathan.
That is remarkable, and it's remarkable that we even know that stat. I mean, I would have had no idea, but unbelievable. I mean, to finish in the top 5 200 times, that's I mean, no wonder that list is so short. It's amazing. And I mean, it takes a long time to even get to 200 races, and when you finally get there, and I don't know, that's incredible, really, and unbelievable, man. And that's just shows the longevity of Denny Hamlin's career as well. He's always a threat week in and week out.
Jonathan, Dominic and I would disagree on this. I'm right and he's wrong. But I mean, for me, I look at Denny Hamlin. I think he's the greatest driver that's never won a championship.
I think he's up there. You have guys like Junior Johnson and Mark Martin, of course, Carl Edwards. I think he's certainly up there with those greats. Also 3 Daytona 500 wins. I'll go in the middle of you guys and say he's definitely up there as far as the greatest drivers to ever win a championship.
Yeah, we know Mark Martin's the top of that list. End of discussion. Yeah, Tyler, what's the next segment?
I'd have to say Mark Martin myself.
3 Daytona 500 wins compared to none. I mean,
5 runner-ups in championships in 3 different decades. I mean, come on, 2 different teams.
Okay, Denny's not old yet. I mean, he's still winning. Okay.
Personally, I will pivot and say Junior Johnson.
Okay. So we have a room divided. That's okay. Diversity. We all win.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Dominic, anything else?
Nope, that's it on the news and notes. So I think it's everybody's favorite segment up next. Is it Tell David? Is it Statement David? What's it called?
It is
Ask Tyler.
Ask Tyler.
Everyone's favorite segment. And it's presented by TicketSmarter. TicketSmarter came aboard as the primary sponsor this year on David's 08 Ford Mustang. We want to tell you a little bit about what they do. TicketSmarter is a national ticket resale marketplace with tickets to over 125,000 live events, including NASCAR and other forms of motorsports. Fans can get tickets to every NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck race throughout the season. Visit TicketSmarter.com for more. That's TicketSmarter.com. Our first question in the inbox this week is on the Twitter from somebody we may know around here. At John Haverland writes for John, actually. The question is, John, what is the best place to eat in Minnesota?
I was anticipating this question because I saw it there, but yeah, one place I love is Kyoto Sushi in Roseville, Minnesota. You go there, you pay, I think it's like $20 or $30, and there's this whole menu front and back of sushi and noodles and chicken teriyaki and desserts and anything you think of. For $20 or $30, it's all you can eat as long as you finish it. I love it. I am getting a food coma thinking about it. Pizza, sushi rolls, avocado rolls, everything. Great place to go eat.
Hey guys, it sounds like we need to visit that restaurant. Wow,
Dave and I, we went out to sushi a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
that was delicious. About the Starr here, yeah.
But it wasn't $20, $30.
Well, let's have some state representation here. Dominic, where's one place people need to eat in New Mexico?
Jonathan, I think, has eaten here now that he's been a resident of New Mexico almost 1 year. But next time you guys,
I can challenge you.
Next time y'all are out here in New Mexico, it's a place called Los Cuates. There's 5 locations in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Authentic New Mexican food. Tastes like it's coming out of your grandma's kitchen. red and green chili, beans and rice and enchiladas and all this great food. Sopapillas. I don't know if you guys ever had a sopapilla, but it's pretty much fried bread. It is so good. And when you guys are out here in New Mexico, we will go and take a taste at Los Cuates.
I visited you in New Mexico and you didn't take me there.
I know. You know, we had Whataburger. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
Hey, can I tell you, Mom, let me give you mine.
Okay.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It's Whataburger. You can't beat it, dude. The hamburgers are amazing. Double cheese with meat, man. Double cheese, lettuce, pickles, mayo, man, unbelievable. The French fries are over the top with the great Dr. Pepper and the ice and the Dr. Pepper shake. Can't beat it, dude.
And then
Well, I will tell you guys what, and Tyler, you were there as my witness when we went to go visit David out there a few months back over the Christmas break. I got to tell you guys, you all know David's a creature of habit, and he enjoys the same thing on the menu. I got David to try a grilled cheese with onion and lettuce and dip it in the spicy ketchup, and he ate the entire thing. It was pretty cool to see David deviate from his usual suspect.
Wow.
You take David, you can make him happy by just giving him some Whataburger, Olive Garden,
Mexican food.
Those options, he'll be pleased. You know?
So I have to ask you, Tyler, because you're going back there this weekend. Where's the best place to eat in Tulsa?
Okay, so I'm headed to Oklahoma this weekend for the PGA Championship, and I'm so excited, by the way, for my hometown to have this event. This is a big deal, and for anyone that may be traveling that's going up to Tulsa for this, you're going to run into some of the nicest people in the world there in Oklahoma. I mean, we got that hospitality a lot like the Texans too. You know, I mean, we're neighbors. You know?
That Southern hospitality is real. Yeah.
Yes, and you know, if I had to pick one place to go to tell people in Tulsa, if you want a burger, there's a place called Fat Guy's Burger, and it's like a half pound of meat, and they'll put anything you want. You want peanut butter on it, they'll put peanut butter on it. You want mayo, grilled onions, cheese, whatever, they'll do it all. Just whatever you want on the burger, they'll do it. You just tell
They
them.
have green chili.
I think they do. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Hey, Dom.
Yes.
What kind of race are we working with, man? There's a NASCAR race, and he's leaving, going to another state. What the hell, man?
Hey, you know what that means? That means war of
Come
Mark
on,
Tate
man.
Sondo to spend time with everybody for us.
Absolutely.
yes, you have to have enough fun for both of us here. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing. But I'll be in St. Louis in a couple of weeks, so it'll all be good.
You mentioned the red and green chili. It is such a big thing here in New Mexico. We even have it on our license plate. I got a license plate with that.
Yeah, they got some badass license plates. Those look good. You know, yeah. Dom, in New Mexico, what's that Mexican place? Sadie's?
Sadie's, that's another New Mexican restaurant. That's a staple in Albuquerque. Jonathan, I'm guessing you've eaten there now that you've gotten the chance to live in New Mexico.
That place is good.
Mm-hmm.
Sadie's is pretty good. Yeah, Sadie's, Gardunios, Los Cuates. There's some really good New Mexican restaurants.
Did he say Mercedes?
Mercedes.
Mercedes. I like it, Mercedes.
Oh,
as Texas's newest resident, the place in Texas I'd recommend go to Amarillo and go to the steak place that has a 72-ounce steak.
Big Texan.
Ooh.
Big Texan. David could probably eat that thing.
No, not even close. I put my money behind Tyler if I had to.
I think that might be a bridge too far. The next question, this question comes from in the email inbox from Condoleezza. Condoleezza wants to know, David, when you're not racing, who do you root for?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I'm a big Kevin Harvick fan. You know, Kevin's always been a great friend, and you know, I don't know. I just like seeing Kevin do well. Kurt Busch, you know, I used to race with Kevin Harvick against him years ago, and I raced with Kurt Busch in the NASCAR Winston West Series, and these are just two guys that I cheer for. I was a big fan of Jimmy Johnson's, and then you know, and so those are some of the guys that I cheer for, but definitely Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch.
Okay.
Kind of different, you know.
Okay, take the journalist hat off for a second, both of you. Be real here. Who do you get excited about when they win? Who do you root for, Jonathan?
Oh, so when I was a kid, I was a big Jeff Gordon fan. Also, the first ever car that I saw when I was about 3 years old, my parents and I, we went to the local Lowe's and we saw Jimmy Johnson's rookie car. Fun fact, Kurt Busch was actually the first driver I ever met when I was 5 years old. There's a picture of me reaching my little arms across the table with the like big look of excitement and meeting Kurt Busch right before he won the championship in '04. So it's cool to see him still out there winning races and doing well. Mark Martin, of course, he doesn't race anymore, but love rooting for him back in the day. And any veteran harkens back to my childhood.
Oh, but you give me one name. Who do you get happy about when they win now?
I was pretty excited when Kurt Busch won yesterday. That was pretty fun to see. So we'll go with that.
Okay, I've always liked Kurt because he gives 0 Fs. He just goes out there and does his thing. I've always liked when Kurt wins. My guy, I would choose, if you made me choose one, I like Ryan Blaney. Ryan feels like, David, a new age, old school racer. You know what I mean? Like you could put Ryan Blaney in a time machine, racing 30 years ago, and he would have fit right in.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. That's a good one right there, Tyler. I like that. But yeah, he is, he's just a cool dude. That's for sure.
I always, Dominic, too, for a while, I was rooting on the guys I had interviewed that had come on my radio show and my podcast. And then after a while, it's like I started counting them up. I'm like, oh, I think I've almost interviewed everybody now. So that kind of wore off. Who do you like to see up front, Dominic?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Kurt Busch is pretty cool to see up front because that's a throwback to yesteryear for me. I think I felt that way about Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, a lot of these guys that I grew up watching. But man, one of the guys I never had the chance to really see him race, but I got to see the tail end of his career was Jeff Bodine. I think it would have been so cool to be a fan in the 90s and watch the sport as it was progressing in its heyday. Jeff is somebody I certainly got to enjoy watching at the end of his career. And Tyler, you and I were talking about this at Texas in October. I mean, we both grew up cheering and enjoying watching Jeff Gordon race, but man, seeing David on the track, even in that cup race in November and October, David was picking off cars one by one. I think he finished 22nd. I mean, I got more excitement rooting David on than I did watching Jeff Gordon win. So I think there's that personal connection we have today.
Oh yeah. I always tell people, they ask, who's your favorite driver? And I said, well, David Starr, but it made me pick beyond David, Ryan Blaney or someone else, So yeah, that's some great stuff there.
Guys,
I'll have you know too, Dave. My fiance Felice, who's been on the show, you're her favorite driver. So
well, that's awesome.
Hey.
That's awesome. Hey man, I'm just very blessed, and like I told you, I know it's your birthday, Dom, but it's having the career and being able to live the dream that I have lived as long as I've lived it, and I'm not done anytime soon. Every day is my birthday, brother. So no, I love it. You know what I mean? So yeah,
love it.
All right. Yeah. So before we go, real quick, David, any advice to Dominic? Don't kiss his ass or anything, but anything he needs to know as he enters age 28.
No, I think Dom's done okay for himself. He's doing great, man. Just keep living like every day's your birthday, Dom. You're gonna be all right,
Good advice. Appreciate that.
Keep on being a good bro.
I don't feel like saying. I think "Happy Birthday's" got some copyright stuff on it, so probably can't sing it here.
Okay,
we'll keep that for off the air. Dominic, tell us. You got the birthday this week, but then you're traveling out here to Texas this week. Tell us about that, man. What's going on with you?
Dom, are you going to the PGA golf tournament, or what are you doing?
I'm actually going. I'm not covering regional golf. I'm covering regional racing. So yeah, I'll be at the All-Star race with Felice. She'll be shooting photos with us. Marcus Lino, who's been a part of our team in the past, has been a part of the team. He'll be with us at Texas this weekend as well, shooting. And actually, I get to talk in front of this dude's back now. Jonathan Fjeld, who always helps with our team coverage, he'll be helping us out like he always does. So it takes a team effort to get what we do at the Racing Experts, and appreciate everybody that's a part of the team. And it'll be the four of us carrying the team at the All-Star race weekend. I look forward to it. It's going to be awesome to see Dave. Tyler, we're going to miss you out there, but yeah, we'll have some fun. It may or may not be having some babysitting duties, but we'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, you get ready for it all. Jonathan, when are we going to see you on a racetrack again, man? Appreciate you joining us and hanging out with us today.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be back at the racetrack for sure. Las Vegas and Phoenix coming up in the fall for the playoff races. Be heading home in a little bit, but definitely gonna try and make it to racetrack sometime this summer. And I mean, John Haviland, shout out to him again. He said it best. The racetrack is a happy place, and anytime I can be in my happy place, it's a good time. So for sure, Las Vegas and Phoenix, though.
That is a great statement. The racetrack is a happy place. I tell people, even on our worst race, have bad luck, it's still not a bad gig at all.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Edwards said it best. One of your former competitors, Dave. I'd rather have a bad day at the track than a good day at the office.
Absolutely.
True.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
And being at the golf course is also a good option too.
I don't know about that. Tom. I don't know about that, you know.
Push it, Tom.
Boys, have a great time in Texas. I will miss seeing your lovely faces, but nonetheless, we'll be with each other here again soon. And as always, you can subscribe to Let's Go Racing with David Starr. New episodes out each and every Wednesday. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, as well as YouTube. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review or don't leave us one at all. You can also check us out on social media, facebook.com/David Starr Podcast, Twitter @Starr Podcast, and by email, davidstarpodcast@gmail.com. We'll put the checkered flag out on this episode. See you right back here for another edition of Let's Go Racing. David Starr, Jonathan Fjeld, Dominic. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks so long. It's been another edition of Let's Go Racing. See you next time.